Club at 50 Chestnut, and for nearly 20 years has been preaching the health and fitness gospel in and around the Rochester area. Good morning, John H. Saturday morning.
Oh, can I get an amen?
Hallelujah.
I just jumped in a little early there.
Fitness Edge Radio is on. Who are we talking to today?
Well, you know what? I want to introduce our guest, but as you remember from last week, I started a new segment called This Week in Fitness, where I go around and do a little fitness field trips, and then I kind of recap them here on the show. So I'm going to introduce our guest shortly. But this week I went over to, you remember Coach Dom from a couple weeks ago, rock boxing.
Hard to forget Coach Dom.
Yeah, he stands out. Not big in stature, but big in presence. He's got rock boxing over on Atlantic Avenue there across from Sticky Lips, right off of Culver. And I went over there, Coach Dom and one of his trainers, Nick Sirianni, who I actually competed against in a bodybuilding show. They put me through a grueling boxing and kettlebell workout, and I posted videos on our Fitness Edge Media YouTube channel if listeners want to get an idea of what those workouts look like. And last thing I want to promote here for Coach Dom is he has a competitive kettlebell event, Bells on the Beach, coming up on July 12th up at Charlotte. Go to rockboxing.com for details. And then just a couple of shout outs. I want to call out some of the kettlebell organizations in town. Rodney Hohenstein, he was a former guest here on Fitness Edge Radio. He's got students over at Empire Academy. I'd like to see them there. Wolf Brigade, Greg and his disciples, I'd like to see them there. And then we've got some new friends over at Structural Body Systems. They're over in Victor, I believe. I'd like to see them there. They're all kettlebell followers. So there's a big culture, a growing kettlebell culture here in Rochester, as well as all the CrossFitters all over town. I'd like to see them all out there July 12th at Bells on the Beach. So that was the Fitness Edge field trip. You can see a video of Coach Dom's 5-minute kettlebell jerk challenge on our Fitness Edge Radio if you want to get an idea of some of the activities that are going on there. And then I do want to mention an event that is happening today until 1 o'clock at my own downtown fitness club. We have an indoor triathlon that you can participate in with beginner distances that are very short, so anyone can walk off the street and do it. We're charging $10. We're selling Yaminators, our sweet potato protein shakes, for just $3. downtownfitnessclub.com for details. And then finally, on August 2nd, I just want to get this on the calendar, Staff Sergeant Javier Ortiz Memorial 5K Race and Walk. I'll have more details on future shows, but I want to get it, like I said, on everyone's calendar. Staff Sergeant Ortiz is a U.S. Marine from Rochester. He was killed in action in Afghanistan in November of 2010, and I'd love the whole fitness community to support this event. And that is This Week in Fitness from Fitness Edge Radio.
Actually rocking the 2013 version of the T-shirt there.
That's right. I'm wearing the, yes, exactly.
We'll look forward to that on August 2nd. All right, so back to our guests today on Fitness Edge Radio. Who do we have in studio with us?
Have you ever heard of parkour?
I've heard of it, but please dive a little bit deeper. Let's get into it.
Well, we're going to let our guests do that. Our guests are from the world of parkour, which we'll explain to our Fitness Edge audience in this segment. Say good morning to Charles or Charlie Moreland and Nicole Suchi?
Correct.
Yes, I got it. They're from Rochester Parkour, and they're here to talk to us today. How are you doing, guys?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
Listen, I am going to admit, I came down this week to kind of just meet with you guys to just find out a little bit about what parkour is about. I had really kind of no idea. I knew it was over on West Avenue, and now you're over on University Avenue. I'll give you guys a chance to put your plug out there with your website and stuff like that. But take about 2 minutes, maybe a little more. Give the layperson description of what parkour is.
Sure. So parkour is basically a training discipline. You can challenge yourself in a number of different ways. Some people love to go and become stronger or more fit people by lifting weights or doing traditional forms of fitness. We like to challenge ourselves by creating obstacle courses. We might try and challenge ourselves by climbing, running, jumping, swinging on bars. And through the training, you learn a bunch of different skills, and you can do some pretty incredible stuff with it. A lot of people probably know the Ninja Warrior course, the American Ninja Warrior course.
I've heard of American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, a lot of people that do parkour end up on the show to challenge and showcase their skills that they get. You've probably seen some sort of YouTube video of people doing some pretty incredible stuff. The main point that we try to get to people, though, is that this is something that everybody can do. It's just basic human motion. While it's really fun to watch a young 20-some-year-old male jump around, flip around the place, a lot of our members are actually like youngsters. We have a lot of kids. We teach them how to channel that sort of playful energy that they have. And we have a lot of adults too. Our oldest member is about 65, and they come in and we just show them how to get comfortable with their body again. They have fun moving around. They really get to sort of like cherish that moment instead of just doing sets and reps of something where we're trying to balance on a bar or vault over a box or anything else like that.
Sure.
Yeah, essentially we teach everybody of all ages to have fun again. A lot of people enter in the fitness world wanting, results or visual end goals, and we really try and teach fun first, and then all of the results happen to come after.
A word that I kind of, stuck in my head, you have to deconstruct a lot of the fitness knowledge that many of us have. Because, like I mentioned, I visited just to see what it looked like. One, that space you're in is cool as hell.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you've got
wonderful.
boxes, these plywood boxes of all sizes, some 10, 15, 20 feet high, various cutouts, shapes, and sizes. It just kind of dominates the landscape, and you've got it's accessorized with like railings and pipes and blocks of wood that use as handholds or footholds or whatever really the imagination can see in that. And, we talked about how it looks different to everybody as you look out across, and you've got 35-foot high ceilings. It's just very cool visually. The second thing is, I really got this non-competitive vibe from you guys. I kind of wanted to turn it into a measurable thing. How do you keep score in parkour? But we kind of got to the point where you said it's like child's play. When you were a kid, you just went out and you played, which is something I kind of remember because I'm pretty old, but most of my adult life, in Danger, you might feel the same way. It's been predicated on competition, which is winning or meeting a standard, and it's just a different mindset. Can you talk about that and what parkour offers, like traditional gym rat guys like Danger and myself that just want to walk in and say, I just want to add 10 pounds to my bench press?
Sure, yeah. So I would definitely agree that a lot of what we do is focused on fun and playful movement, but a lot of the techniques that we learn and the progressions that we go through, we end up applying them to things like tag. When was the last time you played tag, right?
Yeah.
So every age group we usually incorporate a game of tag, and once a month we actually have a dedicated challenge night. So you're talking about the gym rats coming in. We definitely see results in that if you're working really hard at jumping on this object, rolling over this object, you're not really realizing that your squatting power is increasing. And then each month maybe you go and practice a broad jump, and bam, you got 4 more inches that day. So
Yeah,
definitely
we talked
results.
about a broad jump and how the dynamics change. Danger, are you afraid of heights?
Mild fear of heights.
I'm terrified of heights. My palms are sweating now just talking about heights. Did you see where the Sears Tower put that little glass
I did see
thing,
that,
and then
yeah.
it shattered?
Yes.
But they said it's still structurally sound.
Of course.
Who's the guy going out on that testing that?
Yeah.
I digress, but and almost lost my train of the thought. You take that broad jump, that 10-foot broad jump we were just talking about. You do it on 3-inch boxes. Yeah, that's no problem. Then you raise it 30 feet in the air, like they do on American Ninja Warrior, and then it's a different thing. You could clear it easily at 3 inches, but at 30 feet, it's a different. It's a mentality. It's a mental obstacle.
Sure.
You guys teach that in parkour, right?
Definitely, and I mean there's a very easy way to take that sentiment too far, and you'll see a bunch of people or YouTube videos, people doing parkour, and they're jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and while that's a really wonderful showcase of overcoming your fear and making it known, like, this is the same jump as it is on the ground, but now I'm 30 feet up, we like to instill common sense in our students, and it's like, is this really that worth it to do
Right.
it? But there is sort of that sort of like sweet spot that we find of, hey, we can bounce on this bar on the ground a couple inches off, but what's it like to balance 2 feet off the ground? What's it like to balance 5 feet off the ground? Not anything where like, if I fall, I'm gonna die or anything else like that.
Right.
But it's a really wonderful experience to kind of feel like, I've got this mastered on the ground, and then you take it 2 feet up, and suddenly like the world falls apart. Like this is I
Right.
don't even I could do this for just a second. We had one of our students not too long ago. We have a new bar structure. We've never had like ceiling height to be able to actually get on top of our bar structure.
Yeah,
And
because
this-
you guys are new in that location with
Exactly,
those
yeah.
35. I
We
mean,
opened
that's
up in
opening up
May.
a whole new world to you guys.
Yeah, and so they've never really experienced being on top of something that's like 8 feet tall. And this guy's amazing. Like he's incredible. He's been with us for 3 years. He can do some amazing stuff with his body. And we were just like, you know, moving on our hands and feet across the bars on the top of the 8 foot. This is an advanced class, you know. He pulls himself up and he just kind of sits there for a second. I'm like, you know, hey, are you doing all right? He goes, I'm stuck. He goes,
He just froze with fear.
I can't move. I've never experienced this before. I don't know what's happening. And it was just one of those things of like, you know, this guy is an incredible mover, and he you know, he's been on 6 foot bars before. He moves himself up to 8 feet. Suddenly, everything just goes away. He freezes. Yeah, it's a magical experience.
We're talking with Charles and Nicole from Rochester Parkour, and as I'm hearing you guys describe what parkour is for somebody like me who's never done it or never tried it, I play video games, and I think of video games where the style of the game is free running or free roaming, or parkour, you're jumping from building to building, you're climbing from, you know, like some of these video games, I almost feel like what you're describing to me is like real life free run, free roam, free running.
We actually have a huge community of video gamers. And not even just like video gamers, like board gamers.
Now, did they come in costume?
Sometimes.
Well, although sometimes we do have like costume nights or anything like that. But it's, I mean, we breed that mentality of people that love to achieve and continually challenge themselves. You get that so easily in video games, but you can also apply that into your everyday life. And so, you know, you get that feeling of like, oh, I just got myself on top of a 7 foot wall, like, level up, cool.
Level
you know,
up,
whatever.
yeah.
But then you're like, oh, I want to go for the 10 foot wall now. I want to climb on top of that. And then you try, you know, you fail, and you do it over and over and over again. Suddenly you got it. You're like, yes, this is so amazing. It feels so great. You feel so elated. And you just, you know, the sky's the limit. You keep challenging yourself over and over and over again. And I mean, it's a video game with no real end.
That is so awesome to hear, because my youngest son, Grant, he's 12, he is a video game addict. And he will come and tell me scenarios that he accomplished in video games, and I go, Grant, you know what the rule is, right? I want to hear about real life things that you do, because these things you're doing on video games are just with your thumbs.
Get him in the gym.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm excited, because now I have an outlet to take him and physically manifest his love for video games. He can level up over there at Rochester Parkour.
Yeah, actually, a lot of my high school friends are you know, just blown away by how I've grown over, you know, the last couple of years, because I grew up in front of a computer screen. I used to compete on like,
Hey, you look like you're in pretty good shape. You got some good biceps there.
pretty good. But you know, I literally grew. I would spend hours on computer games, all different types of computer games. I loved them. And then I got to college, and my buddy showed me parkour. I was just like, you know, something clicked. I was like, oh my god, this is everything I've wanted in life. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Why don't we go to break? We'll come back. We'll talk about more parkour. And then we have, toward the end of this next segment, we've got a special guest in studio we're going to introduce. So let's do that right after these messages. All right.
Sweet.
We made it to the first break. Relatively intact. Let's stop that.